And we're back with our Ametrine, which has been running for 8 weeks in silicone carbide, 6090 stage 1. And we've been pulling out pieces as we have gone along here. And this is just the last of it. And there's just a bit that could use a little bit more. Yeah, that whole end is janky. That's going to take some time. Okay. That's ready. So that's 3 pieces so far. Now, this may look a little wonky, but you can't feel any of that. This is that piece we cracked last week. And it is really getting there. Okay, so these few pieces still need more time in 6090. It's the nature of the beast. Okay, now this, the vendor called Citrine. Also in this barrel that has been running, I don't know, a couple of weeks, is our Citrine. We were using as filler for the Ametrine barrel because it's the same hardness. There's been some debate whether or not this is actually Citrine or not. The vendor called it Citrine, so that's what we're going to go with. But some others have said it might be prehnite. Some of these pieces were just thrown in last week to fill the barrel, but you can see how it's really shaping nicely already, even after just 1 week. Some of these have been in 2 weeks, and some of them 3 weeks. Wow. We need to see how nicely this is shaping. We'll see if any of these are ready to move forward. That one might be. Ooh, definitely. Let's see, say that. And then that happens. Okay. You're not going to rush these. Now, things like that are just divots, natural inclusions in the stone, we're going to leave. Like that. That's not a grit catcher, so I would leave that. But this one here is. So back in stage 1 it goes. Oh, that one's pretty good. Just so close. And like I said, you know, we've been adding them at various stages, so it's like we're going to have a perpetual stage 1 barrel going. That looks like melted glass almost. Look at that. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, we need more time. More time. I could put a medium. 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 More time. More time. All right. So, the Citrine an Ametrine barrel is only about half full. So I'd like to find something else to add to this barrel to fill it. So let's set it aside and we'll move on to our next project. Rose quartz. If you remember from last week, we found a lot of our medium rose quartz really wasn't ready for medium, so we had busted it back to stage 1. And I had some pieces that I was holding for work on the flat lap, and since I haven't gotten around to getting that machine repaired yet, we decided to put it back in stage 1 and see if that did anything for it. So now we're going to take a look at our lovely rose quartz and see what we can find out, if any of this is ready to move forward to medium. Now this stuff has been running in various stages for over a year. Sometimes it just sat on the shelf for a couple of months, sometimes, went forward and then got busted back. This piece feels fabulous, and we're looking at it dry, so let's just wet it. Let's see how it looks. Whew. Beautiful. Definitely ready to move forward to medium. Stunning. Look at the pink on this. Wow. Now, quartz tends to have a lot of fracture lines, and we have to call that part of the beauty. But you can see right here, it's a little bit. I'd like to still work out, but I don't know how long that's going to take. That could take a couple more weeks or 1 week. There's another one right there. All right, let's leave that for our stage 1. And we'll run it for another week. I mean, we've gone this long. Seeing that one's got that divot right there. That looks like a chip. Well, I didn't see any chips when I cleaned the barrel. That's an inclusion inside. Yeah, I'd like that one done a little bit more. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, that can go to medium. Some of these are such large stones. They take longer to tumble, and they have a tendency to damage other stones because they're so heavy. Okay. I think some of this is ready to move forward. So nice that this, we had enough to run an entire 3-pound barrel after we dug around and found all the bits and pieces we had laying all over the place. I'd like that to be worked on more. Yeah. You see this whole shelf right here. I love it when there's rainbows inside, but it needs more time. So quartz has all these natural fracture lines, and it takes a long time. You really need patience. get out all these imperfections. My goodness. This is lovely. Just lovely. I think I am going to let that move forward. You have to figure out what your level of perfectionism is when dealing with quartz, because seriously, you could run this stuff forever and never get it perfect. That's not catching any grit. Yeah, it can go forward. Or I mean, it can stay in 60-90 another week. Wow, these are really doing well. I'm pretty happy with this. We're seeing some actual progress. It's been a long time coming. There's a little bit right in there. Now, because I've added the vibratory tumbler to the mix, to our processes, it really gets the grit in all these little nooks and crannies, and it's really hard to get out. So if it's not perfect going in, it's going to be a mess coming out. So I think I'm just going to let that one go one more week. Some of these little ones are definitely ready. We had broken a couple of stones to make them more manageable in the tumbler. And they've done their job and rounded nicely. Kind of pebble-ish now. So there's just, it feels a little rough. Let's stay in 60-90. My goodness. Such beautiful stones. Really nice pink on this rose quartz. Just kind of feeling that. We're about half and half on this batch. Nope, that's gonna definitely stay. Feels so nice. But the bottom here, so this is what I wanted to just zip along on the flat lap and then we could move it forward. But we're trying to do this all on the rotary tumbler. That's going back one more week. Our rose quartz. Okay, all of this moves forward. Or actually, it's going to be held until this other stuff catches up. So, all that lovely rose quartz is actually finally ready to be moved to medium stage. And then this is staying in our stage 1 60-90. So we'll see it again next week. Boy, we're just splitting batches all over the place today. Okay, we'll be right back. And we're back with our 6-pound barrel that has been running 5 different stones in it this past week. And It's all in stage 1, 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit, and these are all MOHS hardness 7. So they're able to run together with no problem. Now, some of these stones have just been running forever because we've been trying to just finish up the last of them. And as every week goes by, we split out what's able to be moved forward to medium, and then those sit on the shelf and wait for the rest of them to catch up. So what we have here is our last 2 pieces, huge pieces of pink Aventurine. And these were just huge, and they're still really, really big stones. But I think we finally are to the point where they can move forward. Now, this isn't perfect, but it's not catching grit. So this is going to join the rest of the Aventurine waiting for medium. And so I think is this one. It's got a little bit. Just the tiniest bit right there. Trying to get a really good close-up. Gosh, I hate to split this again. I think I'm just going to let this one go. Yeah, I'm going to let it move forward. We're done with pink Aventurine. On to medium. Finally, we have a whole big bag. Probably a 4-pound barrel's worth of Aventurines that are ready for medium. Okay, let's be done with that. We're back with our White King's Quartz. It has been running in stage 1, 60-90 for a while. Let's see, it's done. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to count. It had to be over 2 months in 60-90. And we moved a lot of this to medium and then busted it back to, medium is stage 2. And then we moved it back to stage 1 because it just had little tiny imperfections that I just wanted to get out. I think I had moved it ahead too soon. No, these stones are dry already. Let's get them a little wet. And it just feels gorgeous. Definitely ready to go to medium. Oh wow, that really, really did the trick. Let's see, this right here could probably stand another week or 2 in stage 1. Okay, back in the barrel it goes. Oh, lovely. Just lovely. See, there's a little bit right there. You can feel it. Yeah, back in the barrel. Wow. This entire stone is perfect, and then you get to this one corner. And it's like the story of our life with this stuff. And again, it's quartz. So it's going to do that to us. Now we did have a tiny bit of ceramic media in the barrel to help, not with cushioning, but for volume. Because we wanted to run an efficient barrel, we needed to be 2/3 full. And it wasn't, so we had to put some ceramic media in there, and what that does in stage 1 is slow down the progress. Yeah, that needs more work. Yeah, you can see all that. Yep. More time. think what we're going to do is add this white King's Quartz to that needs more work with the Rose Quartz. We'll put those in the same barrel. Alright, that's okay. It's hard to see the imperfections on a white stone, and that's why you need to feel it. Ooh, there we go. See, just a little bit. Oh, definitely felt that right away. My goodness, the surface is getting so smooth, so nice. Yeah, more time. Okay, that one can go forward. Oh, that's it. Okay. Not very much for our white King's Quartz. Just these pieces here need a little bit, another week in stage 1. All right, we will see these next week. Green Tree Moss Agate. It's been running in stage 1, 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit for quite a while. It said we ran it 18 days. We're looking at our cheat sheet here. 18 days in pre-stage 1, which was 4670 silicone carbide. We did that with no ceramics, ran it for 18 days. Then we moved it to our stage 1, which is the 6090. And that has been running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. And let's see if any of it's ready to move forward to medium. Now this is dry, and we normally try to keep it wet between stages, but it's taking me longer to get stuff done today, so it's kind of drying. As we examine it, it feels perfectly smooth up until I get to right there. And you can kind of see there's that little shelf that agates seem to share with quartz. And it's kind of like these little fracture lines, and they kind of erode and open up, and then sometimes they'll grind down. And this is quite a big chunk. This is a bigger piece. So these kind of take a little longer. And I just think that's going to go in for another week. This is an interesting piece. I think this is actually Australian lace agate. Let me put that aside because that was also in the barrel. All right, back to the green tree. It's really made a ton of progress this time around. But it's still like this. I'm going to wet this piece so we can kind of see what we're talking about here. So on the back here, we have these little quartz pockets that are opening up. Little crystal caves, also known as a VUG. That's V as in Victor, U-G. And they're opening up because we're grinding down to those layers. All these little pits here, little crystal pockets. And I just want that ground down more. Just because right now they're grit catchers. We'll get to a point where they'll open up enough to where they'll no longer be a problem, but right now they still are. So it stays in stage 1. And this is really good stone until we get to this, and you can even see And this is a really nice stone, and then we get to that crystal pocket that opened up and is full of grit. So we're going to continue to grind that piece. Did I not just work these down? My goodness, they're drying fast. This is really amazing. It feels like all these pieces have these little vugs in them, these little crystal pockets. So it's going to cause some issues. I just don't think that's ready to move forward yet. Oh, definitely not. You can see the pitting on the surface. Again, these larger stones are really taking their time. Wow, that feels gorgeous. Oh, it is almost there. Almost there. Just a couple. I think another week on that piece. Some of these stones are going to be in here for quite a while. And we're just going to resign ourselves to that fact. Doesn't quite have. That one is ready. Nope, nope, nope. See, as soon as I say it's ready, then I feel something. Goodness. Yeah, that's gonna run forever. I mean, as soon as I feel a spot, we're done. Another crystal pocket opening up. Real close, though. So I think next week we might have one or two pieces that are ready to move forward. But it sure as the devil isn't this week. Wow. These are going to be something if they ever finish. Now, even this tiny piece still needs work. So that would be 0 on our green tree moss agate that's ready to move forward. It's going to stay in stage 1, and we'll see it next week. And we're back with our Australian lace agate. It has been running 18 days in pre-stage 1 4670 heavy coarse silicone carbide grit, and then we put it in to stage 1 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit, and it's been running in that stage for 6 weeks. Now we have split some pieces out and sent them to sit on the shelf waiting for medium, and let's see how many more pieces get to join that. This is what we were holding so far. And let's see if we can add anything to it. And this is dry because it dried out while we're filming here today. And we'll just wet it as we need to. Trying to feel for imperfections. So I can see but not feel it. If I can't feel it, we're good. I think some of these pieces we had pulled out too early and then put it back in. So that one can go medium. Nope. There's still some pitting. And I want this pitting ground out. Beautiful, beautiful pattern though. Absolutely stunning. Oh, this is going to take some time. I can feel that surface. Oh, you can see all the grit still in there. So that stays. Wow, and as thin as this piece is, it still needs work. I'm really concerned about this Australian lace, about how much it still needs. That feels beautiful. Right. Let's take a look at it wet. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at the colors pop. Stunning. And this one is finally ready to go to medium. Now, those look like holes, but they're not. It's just the quartz. It's clear and you can see through it, so it's kind of nifty. Okay, this piece. Wow, that needs more work. Not much work, but a little bit. That one needs more work. More work. Holy cow, we're not getting a lot of progress on this. It's like I can feel that little divot. And since we have stuff going back in, why not? Boy. I mean, it's beautiful. But you can feel those imperfections. I'm really disappointed in how pitted this rough is. Isn't that neat? Look at that, and then you turn it over, and it's just like, wow. I am stunned at how little is ready to go forward and how many micro pits I'm seeing. This Australian lace might end up being a bust. Because it seems like once it grinds down a layer, it opens up new stuff. Oh, there's my favorite piece. I've been watching that little eye right there. But it's got, that surface has got some pits. There's stuff right there. Aww, it's gonna need more time. Wow. Crazy beautiful. That one can move forward. Wow, not happy with this condition. Let me see. I mean, just not happy with the condition of this Australian lace agate. It's going back in. We only had 4 pieces to pull out. And we'll see this stuff next week, still in stage 1. Black Onyx has been running for 10 weeks in stage 1, 60-90 coarse silicone carbide grit, and these are larger stones. And they keep drying as we videotape here. So let's see if any of this is finally ready to move forward to medium. I don't think we've had a single piece in these 10 weeks that's been ready to move forward. And being such larger stones, they've required required more time. Wow. Gorgeous. And finally ready. That one can go to medium. I think the problem that we were having and the lesson that we learned running Black Onyx was it didn't have enough movement in the smaller 3-pound barrel because these are such big stones. So lesson learned, larger stones go in bigger barrels, period. Oh. Yeah. All catches. It needs more work. So, lesson learned. It'll take less time if you put it in the proper size barrel. These are getting really, really close. They're feeling really good, you know, I mean, there's just little bits. This is a super hard stone. I know it's only a MOHS hardness 7, but it feels, it's responding more like an 8. So it's taken quite a beating and getting very little progress. Boy, it's just shaped beautifully. But it's got just a few marks in it. I mean, we've gone this long. What's another couple of weeks? Yeah. Just a little bit more. Definitely needs more. Huh. Well, 2 pieces were able to come out so far. Really close. That whole corner needs work. This stuff is really getting to be beautiful. It's revealing really nice patterning. But we've got to get these. Got to get these imperfections out. I mean, I hate to say that this is the boring stage. Because, like, after the first week in 60-90, all the rest of them are kind of, been there, done that, seen that. It's just kind of a patience game. Trying to work everything out. Oh goodness. Hopefully next week we'll be able to pull these out. We're really making progress. Which is nice to see. Like that whole ridge right there. Needs work. Alright, back in 60-90. Look at that, that's a lot of grit. I didn't clean that very well. There's my 60-90 brush. No, there was a couple that still had grit in them, but I just wanted to take a look at that one because that's a bug pocket. You see, that is never going to polish if we don't grind that down. Okay, 2 pieces. That's it. 2 pieces were ready to move forward to medium, and all the rest, these are our good pieces. All the rest has to go back into 60-90. My goodness. We're never going to be done with stage 1. Okay, we'll be back. And we're back with our ocean Jasper. We had some chippage in the barrel, which we expect in stage 1, and there was no ceramic media, so there was no cushioning whatsoever. But it does look like we had a couple pieces break off, and one looks like it's just crumbling. And so we've got these lovely little pieces in here. And let's take a look. What is the condition of our ocean Jasper? Definitely nowhere near ready to move forward. But, I mean, look at all these bugs and pits and divots. I'm not really sure this is gonna be able to move forward. I mean, look at this, is just crumbling. So I'm not real. I mean, yeah, that had a whole piece break off the tip. It's just, I think that's going to go into the garden because it's just not going to work. I'm not really sure any of this is going to work. I think this is going to end up like our sea Jasper. It just didn't get good quality rough to begin with. There's just so much pitting. And damage that's happening. Ay, not good. Not good. Wow. I mean, like this stone here, it just looks like sand, you know? It's just going to continue to crumble. Not very good luck with this type of Jasper. This ocean Jasper or sea Jasper. This stuff comes out of the seabed off the coast of Madagascar. There's a couple different mines. One of them calls it ocean Jasper, the other one calls it sea. And despite how really awesome the patterns are with this, I think to continue on is a fool's journey. Just isn't gonna do what we want it to do. So I think what I'm gonna do is, go through here, pick out what will possibly tumble, to a nice shine, and we'll continue with that, and the rest of it's just going to go out to our outdoor garden. It's just not worth the effort and the grit and the time and the electricity and everything else when you just know you're not going to get a good end product. I hate to give up on something, but we learned sometimes it's better to just say goodbye. This one might possibly be okay. Alright, I'm going to do this off camera. And then we will come back and see if any of it's worth going over. Alright, we'll be right back. And we're back. So after going through all this ocean Jasper off camera, we have discovered about half needed to go out to the garden, and half of it we can actually move forward with, meaning is good enough to tumble. Now there are flaws and pits and whatnot with this stone, but we got the worst of them out of here. So let's hope that next week we're going to see a much improved batch of ocean Jasper that's not falling apart and causing issues. I think there was just a few stones in there that the softness was less, so they were softer stone. It was crumbling. The pits were so deep, they were holding so much grit. It was just causing a lot of issues. So now that we have those major problems out, hopefully the rest of these will continue to move forward. All right, we will see Ocean Jasper next week. All right, we are back with our last barrel this week that's in stage 1, our 6090 Coarse silicone carbide grit. We had a little bit of chippage, just a few pieces here, and I'm all right with that because it's in stage 1. I'm a little concerned. I don't know. It just takes forever. All this stuff in stage 1. I'm a little concerned we're not going to have anything to move forward. So let's take these chips, put them in our Carnelian chip bag for that little project. Okay, we'll put that away and be done with that. And now, let's just take a look at all this Carnelian that still has so much host rock to work through. Boy, this stuff just keeps drying so fast today. Now, I thought that was grit, but that's actually host rock. It's actually host rock. Those are some pretty deep pits there. And on this side, it is grit. These didn't get rinsed as well as I thought they had. But it's December and it's kind of cold outside. So, yeah. Yep. Oh, goodness. It's revealing a nice agate pattern, though. I think this stuff is just gonna spend, I don't know, probably 3 more weeks, 4 more weeks in 6090. Because there's just so much to work off. Even this piece that looks, you know, looks really good. I don't know. It just needs work. This was in the same barrel as that Ocean Jasper this week. And that Ocean Jasper just crumbled to nothing, so I think that was causing problems. Major problems. None of this is ready. This was our lovely little candy corn piece. It's breaking. It broke. Getting some little tiny pebble pieces here. I think these are pieces that broke off something else. That definitely broke off. That gold garden. Yikes. Yeah, we've had damage in the barrel this week. So we're going to move this back to its own barrel so we can minimize the damage and contamination from other stones. Even that one's not ready. Alright, Carnelian. We're going to dig out what was super damaged. You know, like the little broken pieces, the pebbles or whatnot. And recharge it. And we'll see it next week. There's really not a whole lot to say about the Carnelian that we haven't said already. Lots of pits, though. Not really crazy about this. I know that we broke a couple pieces last week. But alright, we're going to recharge this in stage 1 6090 Coarse silicone carbide grit and see it next week. I'm not expecting any progress next week. Maybe we'll run it for like a 2-week cycle and see. I don't know. It's going to be the same amount of time either way. Oh my goodness, I am just exhausted today. Well, this is the end of our 52-week project. I was hoping we could end on a higher note. And we learned so much this year, and we ran some experiments, and that was all lovely. And we've posted all those results online. And I think for our next year coming up, we're going to move to some more intermediate stones. This year we tried a bunch of different things. Mostly we stayed with our MOHS 7, which is pretty safe for beginners and pretty easily to obtain stone. But I think what we're going to do is move on to things that require a little bit more care. So we've got some planning to do for what we're going to run for our next project. But right now we're still in stage 1. I have a few things ready for medium, but I'm waiting to run medium barrels until I have all the stones out of stage 1, because it's just too hard to keep track of so many different projects. So we'll check it out. We'll see what's going to happen. We're going to have a whole new year of new projects. We're going to change up some of our processes, run a few more experiments, and it should be pretty exciting coming forward. Alrighty, be safe. Have good holidays.